After spending some time in Kanab, Utah, it was time to hit the road and head to the city of St. George. But on the way, I wanted to spend a couple of days at Zion National Park. Here I am, early in the morning, at the entrance to the Zion National Park. Once you pass the east entrance to the Zion National Park, it's still another 12 miles to the visitor center. But don't plan on getting there fast. Only a fool would speed through this scenery like this. Every turn of the road is a sight just as good or better than the other. You're wondering, how can it top this? And then it does. This is the short tunnel you go through. The other one is a mile long. One of the most difficult things I had to do on this vacation was to try to keep my eyes on the road as this scenery went by me. Fortunately, there are several turnoffs, like this one below, to pull off on so you can get out of the car and get some pictures and enjoy Mother Nature at her finest. After finding some parking, I hopped on the Zion shuttle to my first stop. Stop number 4, the Court of the Patriarchs. There's a short, paved, fairly steep, but less than a half-mile hike to the viewing point of the 3 peaks that form the Court of the Patriarchs. I went behind the shuttle stop and connected with the sand bench trail to get this shot of the Virgin River, which flows through Zion. Next up was shuttle stop number 6. Of the several trailheads here, one of them is to the famous Angel's Landing, pictured here. Without a doubt, Angel's Landing is the most popular hike in Zion. The top of Angel's Landing is about 1,500 feet straight down to the valley floor. The trail is steep, strenuous, has slippery edges, steep drop-offs, and as you can see by this sign, it can be very dangerous. Despite all of that, it has become so popular that to hike to the top, you're going to need a permit. To get that, you're going to need to enter a lottery. I've been up it twice before, but wanted to go one more time. Unfortunately, I didn't get the permit, but that's okay. I had something else planned that sounded just as exciting. The next place I stopped off at was shuttle stop number 8, Big Bend. There you can see the shuttle that dropped me off just leaving. Right there, at the shuttle stop, is this imposing, giant monolith. I turn around and there's this massive, flat, red wall that towers above the valley floor. I'll zoom in a little bit. Wait a second, I think I see something. If it's what I think it is, I just crapped my pants. Holy cow. I give the guy credit. If he's smart enough to escape from the lunatic asylum, then he's welcome to climb that wall. After that, I headed over to the Washman campground to set up my tent. Rising above the campground is the giant peak the campground is named after, the Washman. It towers 2,600 feet above the valley floor. The Washman is a prominent feature in this area of Zion. By then, it was getting late and I was tired. I decided to call it a night. I had pretty big plans for tomorrow. My day started off early in the morning at Mount Carmel Junction. Yesterday, as I passed through on my way to Zion, I had noticed the neon sign for the Thunderbird restaurant. But, and now this is true confession time, what had really caught my eyes was the sign just below it. Home of the homemade pies. A homemade pie? Is that a pie made by a hoe? I've never had a slice of pie made by a hoe. I decided, then and there, that I simply had to have a hoe pie. Well, much to my chagrin, that motto was thought up back when hoe didn't mean hoe. It meant something else. It was short for homemade. Times have changed, and hoe is slang for something completely different now. Probably the kind of hoe you were thinking of. But in the spirit of that, the owners have totally embraced the controversy surrounding the sign as a fun part of their heritage. The funny thing is, I went there for the hoe pie, but the biscuits and gravy stuffed with eggs and sausage was so filling I couldn't eat another bite. But then, the good thing was, I did get my picture taken by the hoe girl. After breakfast, I headed back to Zion and boarded one of the shuttle buses to the shuttle stop number 9, the Temple of Sinawawa. From there, I would hike a mile on the Riverwalk Trail to that day's destination, the Narrows. I'm on the Riverwalk Trail, and as you can see, it's very popular. It's fairly short, fairly level, and has these great red cliffs towering above the trail. Plus, it leads to the Narrows, which, along with Angel's Landing, are the most popular trails in Zion. My highlight for the day. Here's the jump-off point for the Narrows hike. Did I mention that most of the hike is walking up the Virgin River? Hiking the Narrows is a real adventure. I would recommend some sort of hiking pole or sticks for balance and some sort of footwear. The bottom of the river is very rocky. Some people even rented waders to stay dry. By the way, the water was 56 degrees when I hiked it. That's something to think about. But I tell you, it wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be. One nice thing about hiking the Narrows is that it's free. Just hike up as far as you want to go, then turn around and come back. I got to the point where the water was suddenly getting deeper. The water was getting up to some people's waist. Let's see, my cell phone and wallet were in my pockets. I had a backpack and camera equipment, and I was going to have to hold them all above my head if I were to go any further. That meant I couldn't use my walking poles because my hands would be holding everything. Plus, with water this deep, who knew what was lurking under the surface? Or just around the corner. That was just enough to convince me to turn around and head back to the trailhead. Not that I was scared. I just didn't want to risk getting my camera equipment wet.
Yeah, that's it, Ticket.
So I caught the shuttle and headed back to my campsite. I called it a day early in the evening and got ready for tomorrow's adventure.